Hi everyone! Today we are building a serverless web application on AWS. We will use Lambda, the API gateway, Amplify, DynamoDB and Cognito. So in step 1 we will host a static website, then we will manage the users, next we will build a serverless backend, afterwards we will deploy RESTful API and finally we will terminate all the resources. So let's have a look at the overview. We will create a web app that enables users to request unicorn rights from the wild rights fleet. The app will present users with an interface for indicating the location where they would like to be picked up and will interact with a RESTful web service on the backend to submit the request and dispatch a nearby unicorn. The app will also provide facilities for users to register with the service and log in before requesting rights. Okay, next we need to check the prerequisites. So first you need an AWS account. If you don't have one, you can click on this link here, setting up your AWS environment and get started. And also you need an account with ArcGIS for the map. So let's jump over to check it. So that's the website from ArcGIS. So there's a free version here, create a public account. So yeah, just walk through here. I already have an account, so I can't show it again. Okay, next. Here we can have a look at the application architecture. So our app is hosted on AWS Amplify and we will use authentication with Amazon Cognito. Our app then can send requests to the Amazon API gateway, which will call the AWS Lambda function, and the AWS Lambda function can write to the Amazon DynamoDB to persist some data. And now we come to our module section. We can get started with hosting a static website. Hosting the static website will be setting up our app on AWS Amplify. So the first step you need to do is to select a region. Here's a list from the regions that support the services we need. To choose it, you click on the top right in the console and then you can choose one. I pick US East. Next we need to create a Git repository. Navigate to code commit, or you can also use a GitHub repository, but we will look at the code commit option. And to code commit. Then click on create repository. And here you enter the name of the app, which is Wild Rights Site. I already have it, so I skip it, and then you click on create. Okay, now you also have to set up an IAM user with Git credentials in the IAM console. It is described here on this link. I already did this, so please walk through this snippet yourself and set up your user and then come back to the video. Now we have the IAM user, and next we need to clone our repository. Click on your repository and then on clone URL and click on clone HTTPS. And then open your terminal. You type git clone and then you paste your URL. Okay, for me I already cloned it before, but for you it should download the repository. And yeah, you need to enter your username and your password. And also, if this is the first time that from your terminal you want to make a connection to your AWS console, you also need to set up your AWS CLI, which I will link in the description box. There's a documentation getting started with the AWS CLI. Then after you have set this up, it should work. Now that we have an empty repository, we need to populate it. And then you execute this command. You add all the files so that you can commit them to your repository. So we say git add all, and then we say git commit message new, and then git push. Next we jump over to Amplify. So I will open up a new window and type Amplify, or I already have it here, so. Right, then scroll down and go to host your web app, get started, then AWS code commit, continue, and here you can select your repository and branch master is correct, then click on next, and then you put in the name WildRides site, and you leave the option here like this, create and use a new service role, click on next. Oh yeah, also you need to check this. Then click on next, and then click on save and deploy. So this might take a few minutes to build and deploy. Okay, now it's all green, and now we can check out our website by clicking on this link. And there you go, we already have our website hosted. There's also a section modify your site where you can change the title. I will skip this because it's pretty easy. If you want to change the title, you can do it. I won't now. So let's jump to start module 2. In this module, we will create a Cognito user pool to manage the users' accounts. We will deploy pages that enable the customers to register as a new user, verify their email address, and sign into the site. Okay, let's start by creating the user pool. For this, you need to go to Cognito. So jump to user pool, then click on create user pool. Okay, on this page you need to select username and click next. Okay, here we say Cognito default, and also I pick no MFA, and then click on next, and again click on next. Here we pick send email with Amazon SES. And in the from email address field, you need to register an email that you have registered with Amazon SES. If you didn't register an email yet, you need to follow these instructions on this link here. I will put this link also in the description box. Click on next. Next we need to create a user pool name, let's say WildRides, and app client name WildRides app, and then click on next, and then click on create user pool. Right, next let's update the website config. So in our app we have a file config.js. Okay, this file we have to update now. User pool ID we need. So jump to user pool. This is user pool ID. Copy. Paste it here. And next we need the user pool client ID. Select app clients from the left navigation bar. Yeah, so you need to click on app integration, then scroll down, and then at the bottom you have the client ID. Copy this, paste it here, and here you need to put in the region you have. So I have US East 1. Then we need to save the file and push it. Git add all, git commit new change config, git push. Right. Then we need to wait until this has been deployed. Okay, it's deployed. Right, now we will go back to our website and click on Giddy Up. And then you can register with your email and choose a password. And then check your email and put in the verification code. Then you put in your email again. Verification code, click on verify, then OK. And now you can sign in. Right, and then you should be able to see this. Okay, and also we can go to our user pool and check if it's also visible in AWS. So go to your user pools, choose your pool, and then you here in the section users you can see that my email address is in here and also my email is verified. So we are all done with this. Okay, so let's move on and go to module 3. In this module, we will create a Lambda function and also set up DynamoDB. Okay, so let's create an Amazon DynamoDB table. So for this, go back to your console and click on DynamoDB or type it in the search bar. Then click on Create Table, and for the table name we want rights. For the partition key we want right ID. And everything else can stay the same, and click on Create Table. From our table we need the ARN, so click on rights and click on additional info, and here you can copy the ARN which we need in a second. Okay, following, we need to create an IAM role for our Lambda function so that the Lambda function is able to write to the DynamoDB table. So let's go to IAM and then we need to click on roles, click on create role and then choose AWS Service. And for the use case we need to select Lambda and click on next. And then we want to look for this role. AWS Lambda Basic Execution Role, that's this one, ticket, and then click on next. As the role name, we pick White Rights Lambda. Then choose create role. Create role. Ah, it already exists. Okay. Because I already did it before. Okay, so next we check if we have the role by searching it in the role section. And you see it's here. And then go to the role, click on add permissions, create inline policy, choose a service, DynamoDB, and expand. Okay, so we want, with the Lambda function, we want to write to the DynamoDB. So scroll to right and click on put item. Then click on resources. And click on add ARN. Okay, we need to fetch the ARN from the DynamoDB table. So go to DynamoDB, click on tables, click on writes, click on additional info, copy this, and then we put it in this field. Yeah, and then click on add. Now click on review policy. Fill in a name for the policy and then click on create policy. And now you should have here your policy. Let's move on with the Lambda function for handling the requests. Let's move to the Lambda section in the console. Click on create function. Author from scratch. Request uniform in the name field. Then select node gs16.x. 16. Then open up change default execution role and click use an existing role. And then from the drop down, we use our wild rights Lambda role that we created before. Then we click on create function. Then we need to put in the code. Click on the index.s file, make this empty, and we pick the code from requestunicorn.js. Copy, paste it in here, and next, click on deploy. Okay, following up, we need to validate our implementation. So we will configure a test event in the Lambda function. Click on the arrow, configure test event. Test request event we will choose as the name. Then copy this snippet and paste it in here. And click on save. Then we can test the test. Test our code. Click on test. Status code 201. That's fine. Looks good. Okay, we are done with module 3. Moving on to module 4. So, as we can see, all the gray parts we have already done. Now we will build the Amazon API gateway. Okay, first we need to go to API Gateway. We want to create a REST API, so click on Build. Click on New API. And here we want it to be edge optimized. The API name will be write-writes. And click on Create API. We need a new resource called write. So click on Actions, Create Resource. Will be named write. Enable API Gateway Course. We also need to select this. And click on Create Resource. Okay, select write and click on Create Method. And click on Post. And on the checkmark. Lambda function is correct. We need to check this. Use Lambda proxy integration. The region is correct for me. You need to pick the one that you have used. Okay, and then we need to pick our function here. Click on Save and click on OK. Now we need to add our user pool from Amazon Cognito. First we need to add the authorizers. Create new authorizer, and then as name you can say write-writes authorizers. Then choose Cognito, and then we can pick our user pool here. Authorization. Click on Create. So now we can add our pool to our resource. Click on Method Request. Click on this pencil, Authorization, and here you can... wait, I need to reload maybe. Okay, reload, and then you can choose the authorizer here. And then click on the small check mark, and then we have added it. Okay, deploy our API. Click on Actions, Deploy API, Deployment Stage, New Stage. We will call it Production. Deploy. Okay, and this is the URL where you can call our API Gateway. So we need to add this URL into our config file. So copy it. Then here you have your config. Put it in, save, and then as you already know from before, click git add all, git commit add API URL, git push. We also need to change the write.html file. So open the write.html file and look for ArcGIS. Okay, so 4.3, it should be 4.6. 4.6. The rest is the same. And add it and push it. Change ArcGIS version and git push. Okay, so now we wait until it's deployed. Now we are all done and can check if it's working. So either you can go to write.html, but I had the case that the map was not loading. So if this is the case, go to signin.html and log in again. click on sign in. And it can also be that you have to sign in for ArcGIS. Okay, now you can pick a location where you want to have your unicorn to be. So just click, for example, here. And then click on request unicorn. And it takes a while, and then you see that the unicorn is coming. Yeah, and you can click again somewhere else, and click again and try it. You can also zoom in and out of the map. And here you can see which unicorn came. And that's about it. So the last step, module 5, is that you clean up all your resources and delete everything, but I will not walk you through it because it's very easy. And yeah, you can go through it yourself. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section, and I'm happy to help. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye!